I'm Rachel,
I'm Ivy.
and we are Swords and Sapphics, a podcast all about queer media, representation, and women with a capital W. Hello,
Who are we talking to today?
today we're talking to Brenna Bailey, who is the author of the Juniper Creek Golden Years series, and this month is bringing out a new book, And They Were Neighbours.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It is.
I read A Tale of Two Florists last year, and I think I was talking about it on the podcast.
I think so, actually.
I hope
It's
I
good.
only said nice things. I think I did. I loved it.
Yeah. I started reading it. Sometimes it happens to me that I start reading like several books at once, just like chapter or
No.
two, and then I go to something else. This is exactly what happened back then.
Yeah.
I've been going through stuff for a long, 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 long time. So yeah. But I do want to get back to everything at some point. It's just life is
It
a
was
lot.
just it's like a one that you want to kind of just curl up with when you're having a rough day. It's a very cozy and comforting read.
And I think it would be best during autumn because that's the cozy season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's because it's flowery, I think any time of year. Although there's a lot of sunflowers in it, so autumn probably is a good season for it too.
See? Yeah. And
Yeah.
now it will be actually even better because between that I got into plants.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anyway, shall we catch up?
Sure. I have a lot of to catch up on.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't know if I do.
I don't think I even will go through all of it because it's been a lot.
Yeah.
And we had a break, so
Well, tell me then. What have you been reading?
maybe I will, maybe I won't. Hold up.
Fine. Be
So
that way.
I read a lot. So I finished right, let me open it all because I keep forgetting. I read 31 books. I thought I read only 30. Anyway, I read 31 books this year, clearly.
Oh
Finished Homebound by Haley Anderton. Uh,
yeah.
a great book. I read it on my Kindle. So, as you all might know by this point, Kindle and I are not the bestest of friends.
Yeah.
But I am reading on my way to and from work. So I read it on my travels and it was great. It made me cry in public transport, which made made it slightly weird for the other people around me, but it was fine. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. It was
I'm glad you liked it.
it's weird to say like it was great about something that was like really serious.
Yeah, so if you don't know, it's a young adult book, and it's about a girl who's lost her caregiver, and she's also suffering with agoraphobia and anxiety. And it came out when I read it, at least it was very close still to like lockdown era.
Yeah.
So it felt I think anybody could have identified with that at that time, but also I felt very related to the character just in the way the mental health representation was very
Yeah.
authentic to me at
Yeah.
least.
The same, I really like to see the different forms of grief. It
Yeah.
was very interesting. And also the way the mental health is different for everyone and how it if affects people around you because what might be best for you, either it be mental health or like the grieving part might not be the best for people around you and vice versa, which is
Yeah.
really important thing to sort of like keep in mind for yourself and for others.
Hmm.
And just because people put themselves first for a bit doesn't really mean that you're not important to them, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Other things I read, I didn't think you know this writer. It's Bryony Rosehurst, and she wrote Running with the Wolf.
I
I
don't
really
know
loved it
her.
mostly because it was in Prague, and there were werewolves, witches in Prague, and that I really love that for me. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder where she got the inspiration
I
from.
don't know. It's weird because strangely, they were in a place that I basically lived next, like by to,
Hmm.
and I had like all my important school events there, and I sang in a choir, choir.
Choir.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So
Interesting. I
it's
wonder how
weird.
you
It's a
do those things.
coincidence, isn't it?
What a coinky ding. For those who don't know, I am Bryony Rosehurst. I wrote
Wait,
that book.
what?
I know. I'm taking
Oh,
off my Hannah Montana wig.
oh my God. I don't know what to do with this information.
I
Well,
know.
anyway, another writer you might not know is B.B. Woods, from whom I read Kill Me Softly, which is a new book that she released.
Yes. I haven't heard of it. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, it was really good. It was about like two potters on in uni, and she was so mean to him, and he was so into it, and I was into it, and I was also into him because he's. It was just like there was a lot again at back, but perhaps from my side because the mean teacher was doing it for me. Kind of everybody was doing it for me. I cried a lot. It was great. I laughed a lot. There was a lot of puns. You wouldn't know that. You don't know.
No.
Um, yeah, that one was also great. Really
Well,
great.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. I don't know
And
why you
also,
would, because
if you're into them, I'm going to take it as a compliment that you're into me because
yeah.
I wrote them.
Wait, what?
I know, I'm taking off the Hannah Montana wig again. It was really hot under these two different wigs. My scalp is itchy.
I don't know how to move on from this.
Been
Like, I
living a
thought
double
I knew
life.
everything about you.
I know.
Next thing you're gonna say is that you're also Bonnie Woods, which would be weird now.
And something else as well. I'm also Rachel Baldler.
Wait, is it the right who sent me gifts? The last one didn't sign her name. I,
Yeah, Rachel B. It's been me all along.
oh my God.
I
So many
know.
revelations to me. I think, honestly, I think this interaction is only entertaining for the two of us.
Everyone's so tired of us.
They're just skipping. They're just pressing the 10-second skip button. But guess what? We're
Yeah.
still at the bit. We don't not giving up.
We do this all the time, actually. Like, we entertain ourselves quite a lot with sarcasm that it's not even, it's not productive. It's not that funny to anyone else listening, but it's great for us.
I think they're missing the best bits that we do when we're offline. Well, online together only. Last, like, is it 3 nights ago? We spoke with like Russian accent for like good 30 minutes. And we were just speaking nonsense. Nonsense, like absolute nonsense. It didn't like it wasn't a full sentence.
Only started because you said you're a vampire, and I said I want to suck your blood, like Dracula.
Yeah. And then it just took a turn.
We never know where a conversation might lead us, and I think that's the magic of us.
Honestly. And then Rachel couldn't turn off the accent and she
I
like
couldn't.
go
Once
back.
it's on, I'm not turning it off. I said goodbye to her in Russian accents.
Yes. It was
Sorry if
just,
you're Russian, but not for the accent. Just sorry if you're Russian.
yeah, that's valid. That's valid. Yeah, it was wild night. And at that point I was so tired, like I was half asleep, so it felt like I'm just sleepwalking or just something is I don't know what was happening at the like it was strange day.
It
But
was an
we
experience.
entertained each other for over a good half an hour for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Well, back to what I read.
Anyway,
Anywho, I also listened again. Well, I read it, now I listened to it, the audiobook of The Life Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. And it was just as good as I remembered it. It felt even better because it makes me giggle. It was so great. Everything was so great.
I
Yeah.
have another confession to make.
What? I'm scared. You're
I'm Ali Hazelwood.
Oh my God.
No, I'm not. But my book was next to hers in Asda,
Oh
by
my,
the way.
yes. See two queens side by side, ruling the romance realm together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I read a bunch of other books, but there's not much to tell there. Yeah,
Okay.
nothing too important.
Fine. Keep your secrets.
I'm afraid you know about everything, man. You're there with me when I read it. This doesn't work.
And what you're currently reading?
Oh, right. I'm currently reading A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Johnson, which is the
Yes.
second book after Fake Inked in Blood, which I also listened to an audiobook of recently because I just wanted to
Mm.
read it before I got to the second book, and it's great. I do love Danielle L. Johnson.
Well, I'm new to her,
Mm.
and I'm reading A Fate Inked in Blood for the first time, and I'm very much enjoying it. Yeah. So I actually do need to order the sequel so that I can
Mhm.
get straight into it, so I don't
Absolutely.
forget things.
Yeah. Or you can wait 2 years and then listen to an audiobook.
I could do that.
Highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great series. This one is duology about Norse gods and Vikings.
It's so good. Anything Norse like immediately gives me Skyrim vibes.
Mm.
Um, but I was concerned because I actually read another Viking romance not that long ago and it just wasn't hitting for me. And I was like, oh no, what if I really love Norse mythology but I don't enjoy Viking romances? And then and then I got this and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
He's he we was talking as well about he's kind of refreshing in the romantasy realm as like in straight romance at least because like we've got all the Sarah J. Maas and Fourth Wing love interests who are like ethnically ambiguous and a little alpha male. Well, not a little, a lot. And it's quite, even though it's enjoyable to read, it's been very much the same man in every romantasy book for a while now.
Mm.
So it was, I enjoyed that it wasn't like immediately enemies to lovers and that they had a bit of a flirtation and a bit of banter and he's not he's 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 annoying and he's a playboy, but he's not like you don't want to punch him. She does.
Yeah, but he's into it.
Yeah, he's into it.
I
And
do love it.
she's not like a damsel in distress either, even though he's there to help her. She's a strong main character.
Yeah. I also said Danielle Ann Johnson is really good at just her characters are different from each other. So
Yeah.
she wrote the Bridge Kingdom series, which is about now I'm on third couple. And all the men are different. Like it just they're different. Like Karis was my favorite because he was blonde and manipulative, and I think that's what I'm into, I guess now. But he wasn't as much of a fighter as he was. He was like brilliant. He knew how to strategize. He knew how to manipulate other people, which like, but for his girl, you know.
Yeah.
And he rather wielded his brain than a sword, which doesn't really happen often from him. And she was
Mm.
like the warrior princess, which was cool for me. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was really like yeah, I love all of her books. I love all of her characters. It's just really great. It's really great.
Yeah.
Can't recommend her enough.
Yeah. I'm excited to read more.
Anyway, what have you been reading outside of that?
I have been reading. I'm actually currently reading Back in the Saddle by Maggie Eckersley,
Mm.
which it's her debut, and it is a cowboy romance.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw! I'm enjoying it. It's great. It's a bit insta love, which isn't my usual thing, but like I think y- you have to go into romance knowing that not everything that you read is going to be like your thing. Like it's not
Yeah.
going to give you the big heavy feelings. But their banter is still exceptional and there's just something very hot about a man who wears a brown bell and like a brown leather bell and rides horses
Yeah.
and is from Oklahoma and there's already some good trauma there. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Beautiful.
And also it's a bit Grey's Anatomy-ish because she works in a cancer center as well. So she's been like comparing it to Yellowstone and Grey's Anatomy, and I'm there for that because I love both of those things.
You do.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yesterday I finished listening to the audio of Love Lessons in Star-Crossed Valley by Lucy Knott, which is a sapphic book. And I think actually her only sapphic book at the minute, although she does represent bi characters a lot.
Hmm.
I had switched to audiobook because it was kind of it's a little bit slice of life. Like there's not a huge you it's a lovely place to be in, a lovely scenes to live in, but it's kind of slice of life, and I wanted it in my ears rather than kind of I knew it would take me a long time to eye read. So
Mm.
I went for the ears, and I will say the Canadian accent of the narrator wasn't ideal. Um,
No.
it wasn't great. It was because it was narrated by a British narrator.
Oh,
Um, and she was like, awesome. And I was like, that even I know that Canadians don't speak that way.
no.
As we'll soon find out with Brenna Bailey. Um, yeah. But other than that, it was a really lovely read. There was some really heartwarming scenes. I would say it's as much like, I don't want to say women's fiction, but like women's fiction as it
Hmm.
is romance, because a lot, at least half of the novel is centered on the main character's experiences of being an assistant teacher to an autistic child and the dynamics in the classroom because she's not really considered by the main teacher, and
Hmm.
like how patience and communication really is all that autistic people really need. And
Hmm.
there was some really, that really was heartwarming. Yeah. And there was some dinosaurs there. Not
We
real,
love a
not,
dinosaur.
yeah, they was in the dinosaur museum.
Mm.
It
They
was
would.
really nice and cozy. I would recommend it if you just want to like a nice little cozy, what's the word for it? Not low stakes because there was a lot of like character growth there, but just there's lots of baking and comfortableness and
Mm.
that kind of stuff too.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Before that, I finished Somewhere New by Annie Bennett, which we'll be talking about in next month, an episode for next month
Oh,
because we
yes.
talked to Annie there. Did I talk about Kilted Lovers on this?
Don't know.
Before that, I was reading Kilted Lovers by Megan Clawson, um, which was Scottish. It was a Scottish romance, and I didn't know if I was gonna like it because it was a royal. She's a royal princess, and obviously the royal family is fake, but she goes to Balmoral. But I did like it because the mental health representation was really great there. She had depression, and a Scottish man's always swoon worthy. There was like that kiss that you love in like fairy tales outside the stables when it's
Oh,
raining, stuff like that, and big love confessions.
beautiful.
So I want to be reading more by Megan because I read up on her, and her dad works as a beef eater. Is that what they called? The ones that stand outside the royal uh,
Oh,
Balmoral,
oh, I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not
not
British.
Balmoral, Buckingham Palace
Oh,
with the big hats.
oh my
So
gosh.
like she has like inside experience of what
That's
it's like
cool.
to. I know, isn't it?
Yeah.
So so I think the first book she wrote, the love interest, is a guard outside
Mhm.
of Buckingham Palace. So as much as I hate the monarchy, it makes for a good romance. So
Yeah.
um I think I'll have to read more of those.
Beautiful.
And I think that's it since we last talked, here at least.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah,
mushing together, doesn't it?
it is meshing together a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really it.
Beautiful.
What about shows and movies? Have you watched anything good recently?
I'm watching the originals now. And it's just Klaus has curls now. And he never looked
Yeah.
better. Like it just and in the previous I'm on season 4. I started season 4 today. And at the end, like closer to the end of season 3, Haley, and Hope was they were going away from New Orleans to sort of like just be safe as a family. It was just very gentle and soft. And there was moments where Klaus wanted to go, like there was something happening in New Orleans and he went to go and Haley was like, just go, like it's your family. And he was like, no, I'm staying with you too because you're my family. I was like, it's just, I really love them. And Klaus calling Haley Little Wolf and then calling Hope the littlest wolf. It just makes me so
Oh,
emotional.
it's really good. I think they could have been a really great ship. As much as I love Klaus and Caroline and Haley and Elijah, they have something there. And I'm sad about the way Klaus sometimes treats Haley.
I know. Yeah, the beginning wasn't great. Now it got better. Like I honestly, I do think to me they work better as co-parents than a couple because I think they would be very explosive as a couple
Yeah.
because they're both have very strong personalities. Klaus doesn't like to not be in the power and Haley challenges him on that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see him as like the, the journey of how he grew to respect her. And
Mm-hmm.
kept calling her the queen of the bayou wolves and stuff. Like you're their queen. And it was just he was just hyping her up, for a while. And it
Yeah.
was yeah, they're very special to me. Also because you don't have really that many good co-parents who don't
Yeah, that's
have
true.
that like they didn't hurt each other romantically.
Mm-hmm.
There's not
Yeah.
there's that isn't there. And I think that
The
does a lot.
feelings were never there.
They're never there. And you don't have that much.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it just yeah, they're very special to me. Yeah.
Script, honestly, the originals probably is objectively better than Vampire Diaries. Like the things they did in that show was so much better.
Yeah. Brea is Suffolk,
Yeah, we get
which
Sapphic.
they never had.
Unfortunately, the main characters of color are just always treated like shit, and I realize that I always lo love them, and that's because they're always the worst treated, and I empathize with them too much. And that's Marcel and Bonnie Bennett.
Yes. But we all know that's because of well, many things, but mostly the producer, the creator of the shows.
Yeah.
Who is not the greatest person in the world, to put it lightly.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking, you know what? There was a moment. I don't know if it's because the witches in New Orleans are like predominantly people of color, but I was also
Hmm.
thinking it is interesting to pay notice to the fact that when one of the Michelsons get the body of a witch, they're mostly a black person. So this is something I just noticed, but I don't know like if I'm just reading too much into it, but it's just something
I don't think
interesting
so
to me.
because like the whole reason they would have chosen New Orleans as a setting is because it's such a big culture of witchcraft
Yeah,
and voodoo,
yeah,
and they love to use that. But I can only think of Vincent as as like one of the main characters who's black and a witch. Like Davina's a witch and she's not black.
yeah, but yeah, that's true. But Finn was in Vincent's body. Then when their
Yeah,
mom was
exactly.
there, she was in a there was a witch who was black. I think partially, maybe I don't know the actress. Then when Rebecca came back as the witch, she was Vincent's wife, who was also a
Hmm.
black woman. It's just something I
It's
noticed. It's an
it's
interesting
quite
choice, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's quite a talent to kind of set it in New Orleans and still make black characters the side characters, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And also it is a bit there's a lot probably a lot to dissect with the body swapping things.
Oh my gosh. I think it's hitting me now more than before
Yeah.
because there was also one of the Harvest girls who was like 16 who died with Davina. Esther Michelson first took her body and then she switched to the older witch. And then when Rebecca was stuck in a different body in the asylum for witches,
Hmm.
the first girl was there and she was like traumatized after Esther was in her body. And same for Vincent, who was also traumatized after having Finn in his body. And it's hitting me now. Before that, I didn't really care that much
Mm,
because I didn't really understood it, but it just that's a violation
mm,
of a whole other level. Like,
mm-hmm. I mean, white people using black people just for their bodies is a thing.
yeah, yeah. It's just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
And the
strange.
there's a lot to unpack there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm watching. I don't think anything else.
No, we're
Yeah.
watching Yellow Jackets
We are
still.
watching Yellow Jackets. It's true.
Um, it's good. I love it. I'm really
Yeah.
enjoying it.
Yeah. I think I'm doing, I don't know if I'm doing better now because it's not as bad or because I know there's something like supernatural going on.
Yeah, because it did get freakier, but but that's the thing. Like, it's weird because like so much of it is rooted in like gritty reality, and then there's
Yeah.
just like that weird supernatural aspects we've started getting with like
Mm,
demon possession and stuff, and I just can't work out which way they're going with it
I
or what they plan
know.
to do. Oh, there's just so much to it.
I
And
know.
Ty's character is getting strange, man. She's outside eating dirt at night and doing things, and then blames Demon's son for them.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I feel now bad because I was like, someone give him a priest, and it was just his mother. To be fair,
I still think,
he knew how to be creepy. Like that was a
yeah,
talent. Poor
a
baby
little too
boy.
creepy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a lot to it, and I hate not being able to get attached to the guy. I got attached to Vanessa. They were
Oh,
wolves.
right. I was like, who's
The
Vanessa?
CGI of that was so bad that I thought it was a dream at
I
first.
know. I didn't. I honestly, that I was like, are we still like, what is happening? Because they dream a lot, and I wasn't sure. And that was like, why is she in a tree out of nowhere?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was.
don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect. But my
No.
favorite part is just watching Christina Ricci and what's she called? Natalie.
Mm,
Just be cunning, plotting, and also they could so easily do the enemies to lovers trope because
that's
they hate each other, but and they're both weird as fuck.
true.
And it's just great. This is great. I just
Yeah.
ship every woman with every woman right now.
Honestly, that's fair. It's also funny that you said you can get attached to a character when I went there for one person and one person only, and I know she's not gonna make it.
I
Like,
know.
that's awful. Like, Ella Purnell, the things I do for you.
I
Oh
know.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm having fun
Anywho,
with it though.
yes.
Anywho, I'm watching Vampire Diaries, but not recently. Recently, recently I'm back in my home and away era, which is an Australian soap opera that I used to love watching back in the day. And I went back to it because oh my God, there's some hot men there. There's some hot policemen there. That actually I'm in love with one of the women too. She's called Dana. And I one thing about Home and Away is I can't really think of many queer characters in it, so I'm not gonna get fed. But there are some bizarre storylines, and I'm enjoying that.
Amazing.
I don't know, it's my happy place. I love getting in bed at night and watching Home and Away.
Yeah. Fair.
I'm back to Station 19 because I'm writing a fireman romance.
Finally.
I needed the inspiration. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I'm getting into some good angst because Sullivan is doing a Justin Bieber and going on fentanyl. Sorry, that's not appropriate.
I don't care about Justin Bieber. He's
I
nuts. So
know.
fair.
It's hard. It's a hard one with Justin Bieber because, like, he was obviously groomed as a kid,
Yeah.
but he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's
But
all
you know that
obviously.
his huh?
Go on, carry on.
You just know that it's the film that fucked him. And like
Yeah,
an adult like grown as women thirsting for him when he was 16.
yeah,
But also he can get a therapist.
yeah. It's a difficult one, isn't it? That
Yeah.
is better just it doesn't leave
Yeah.
celebrities alone. I wish we could just all collectively ignore celebrities until they went away, except for Pedro Pascal.
And Elizabeth Olsen. And Ella Cornell. And Hannah Whittingham. And a few
Yeah,
more I can think of actually. I don't know. It's a
a
hard
few
line. Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan.
He's killing all the ladies. Pew,
Pew, pew,
pew,
pew.
pew.
Oh, Florence Pugh.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway. Oh, I've been watching The Last of Us. I can't talk much about it.
yeah.
I will say they're fucking with they're fucking with the way they're doing TV shows. The the producers said that they didn't have enough time to tell the whole story of of the part two in season two, so they're doing two more extra series. The series are 7 episodes long, and they take 2 years to come out. That's why they don't have enough time.
I just saw today a new Ginny and Georgina came up. It was like 2 years off, like they had like 2 years break between the seasons. And the little baby boy who he's there is supposed to like they were supposed to be in the same night, and it's just he's like 8 and 12 in the other one. Like it's just wild.
People, I think more than anything, it's just proof people are not planning the TV shows that they're creating. They
Yeah,
don't care about viewers enough to plan
yeah.
it.
And also because
Because
they
yeah,
might
we
get
expect people
canceled.
to age.
Yeah,
Yeah, we expect people to age, but like, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
yeah.
I don't like the way that it's going. Stranger Things, man. The kids are like 80 now. Mum said they'd be taking out their pensions. I'm like, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too much.
It's too much. It's the same with Bridgerton. Like they're taking like 4 years to do a season. That's nuts. Like,
I
come on.
know. And it's like the higher the budget, the longer they take. But like not because they're putting so much effort into it, because they
Mhm.
don't film for a year before they go back to it.
Yeah.
And it's just like either you're dedicated to it or you're not.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be a respect for viewers anymore.
Mm,
And then Netflix wonder why like everything's going down.
yeah. It's true.
Anyway,
Anyway, should we get to the interview with Brenna?
we shall. Here is Brenna Bailey and us as well. We're there.
Yeah, 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 that's true. Good point. Enjoy.
Oh, thank you for joining us. First of all, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Brenna Bailey. I am a sapphic contemporary romance author, and I'm also an editor. I edit fantasy and romance for indie authors, mostly focusing on books that have queer representation. I have 4 books published currently in the Juniper Creek Golden Year series, and my next book, the first one in the Juniper Creek Romances series, it's called And They Were Neighbors, and it comes out July 22nd.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about And They Were Neighbors and what inspired you to write it?
Yeah, so it is a neighbors to lovers story about 2 queer women in their early 30s who are basically trying to figure out life.
Mood.
Kind of the long and short of it. Yeah. It actually started out as a completely different book. Like it was originally a dual timeline Valentine's Day story. And I wrote like 55,000 words or something for it. And then I was getting basically to the climax and I was like, something isn't working. So I basically started over from scratch. I took the same characters and plopped them into a completely different story and ended up with And They Were Neighbors. So, yeah, it's about Zoe and Mina. Zoe is wanting to get her candle business off the ground, and Mina wants to be a 3D character artist. And they kind of, because they live next to each other, they end up working together at the same flower shop and helping each other figure out life.
Beautiful.
Amazing. Did you find it difficult to kind of scrap it and start again? Because I know a lot of authors that we talk to, it's like letting a baby go. But like, how do you get to the point where you know it's ready to, it's just not working?
For me, it was a mental breakdown.
Oh no.
Yeah, I bet.
I was like, I kept trying and trying and trying to fix the story to just make it work. And it felt like ramming my head against a wall. Like it just wasn't working. And one night I was lying in bed beside my spouse and I was reading, I can't remember, I think it was Iris Kelly Doesn't Date by Ashley
Mm.
Herring Blake. And I just burst into tears. I was like, my story is not working. Like, I just have to scrap it. And originally I thought I would have to scrap it all and not use any of it again. I was just like, basically ready to give up on it. And I was like sobbing. And my spouse is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not."
Oh.
But then I read the end of Iris Kelly Doesn't Date, and something about it just like sparked an idea in my head that helped me fix the character arc. And the next day I was like, you know what? I don't have to scrap this whole thing. I can take the characters and just plop them in a new story. And like the whole thing was just there after that. Like it was easy to write the second version. So
Amazing. You
Oh,
kind of have
yeah.
to go through like the really hard part to get to the part where it feels like it's working again.
yeah.
Were you thinking about like trying the storyline again, like the same way, or like with a
Um,
different character, perhaps?
I was the Valentine's Day thing, which was
Mhm.
kind of at the crux of the story when I started writing it, it just wasn't sitting right with me. Like it
Okay.
didn't, something about it wasn't clicking.
Mhm.
So, yeah, the characters were the part that I really liked. So I was like, I'm going to keep
Sure.
them
Hmm.
and then kind of rearrange everything else.
Yeah.
And how did you create the wonderfully cozy and queer town of Juniper Creek? Is it inspired by any other places?
It is. So I have family that lives in the Fraser Valley and in BC in Canada, and that is where Juniper Creek is set. It's a fictional town, right? It doesn't actually exist, but I set it there because I love that area. And I drew from Langley, which is like this really cute town. There's a lot of movies shot there, actually, and like in the Vancouver area. So I drew from Langley because I liked the antique shops and the book shops and the candy shops and all the like cute, quaint little things. And I drew from Abbotsford, which is where my family lived, and also Invermere, which is a small mountain town in BC, because my family has a cabin there. So just like all these little places that I love that give me good feelings. And then, of course, I drew from Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls because
Yeah.
that's like the ultimate cozy small town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any staples of the cozy genre you always go back to in each book?
Yeah, so I think found family is a staple trope for cozy genres, at least for me. That's like my favorite trope of all time, no matter the genre. So I try to work that in to everything, and then also just have staple cozy locations. So things like the bakery and the library and the bookstore, places where like I would want to spend my time, and I hope that readers also want to spend time there. Those are the things that I try to draw into the books.
Yeah. The flower shop was the thing that got me into your writing, in Tale of Two Florists. I love anything set in
Mhm.
like a little small business.
Yeah. Small businesses are like, I feel like that's a crux of coziness too, because you really
Yeah,
root for them, right? Like
yeah,
local small businesses. Those are, we all want them to flourish.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then I bet in real life there's nothing romantic about trying to manage a small business. It must be so stressful. Could you tell us a little bit about the main characters and what their journeys look like in And They Were Neighbors?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned it a little bit already, but so Zoe, when the book starts, she's working at a flower shop and she already runs a candle business, but she wants to expand. So, like you said, in real life, it's like not really romantic to run a small business. And she's feeling that too because she wants to put together a proposal that will help get her candles into shops. And she's like, I know nothing about this. And, it's not attractive to try to write a small business proposal. So that's what she ends up recruiting Mina for. And Mina has, at the beginning of the book, she goes through a breakup with her long-term boyfriend who rudely just kind of walks out on her. And she is now kind of in the lurch because she has to pay rent, but she doesn't have enough money. So she decides she needs another job and she wants to eventually achieve her dream of becoming a 3D character artist. So she ends up working at the same flower shop as Zoe. And they kind of work together to help their business dreams come true. But at the same time, they're growing closer to each other and learning more about themselves and what they actually want out of life. So for Zoe, that's kind of I call it allergic to commitment. She doesn't want to commit because she's got some trauma and some wounds from her dad leaving her when she was young and her mom falling into a really serious depression that affected her as a child. And Mina is working through this conflict that she has with her parents because her sisters are really successful. One of them is a dentist, one of them is like a neurosurgeon, and she wants to go into arts. And her parents don't really approve of that. They want her to go into a more lucrative, like high-end career. So she's kind of grappling with that. So both of them have, their own family drama that they're dealing with and their own internal wounds while they're trying to get their lives on the path that they want to be on.
I wonder how much research you had to do for like the small business aspects because I know like I love writing about small businesses, but I'm always lost when I get into it because I don't know like the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, so I kind of drew a lot from my own experience for that
Mhm.
because I'm a freelance editor when I'm not writing, and that's a small business. So I had to, I built my business from the ground up by myself. I didn't have a lot of help. Um, and it was a struggle. So I kind of drew from that and then what I know from other friends and things. Like I go to a lot of markets where there are small businesses, so I drew from my experience talking to other vendors for Zoe's in particular. And then for me now, with her kind of ambition to become a 3D character artist, my spouse is a 3D character artist. And he's kind of been going through the journey of, learning how to get into the business and get a foot in that world. So I drew from his experience for that.
Amazing.
Is there any like specific business that you would like to still include in some future books?
Oh, there's so many. I'm really drawn to small businesses in general. So,
Love it.
and like lately, my brain has been going to like tattoo artist. That's kind of like,
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
yeah.
please.
Yes. Well, your books always include some of our most beloved romance tropes. What did you enjoy about writing Neighbors to Lovers?
Neighbors to Lovers was really fun. I think that there's a lot that you can play with because even if the characters don't interact anywhere else in their lives, they're obviously going to see each other because they live next to each other, right? So you see each other coming and going. And, I have a scene in the book where when Zoe first moves in, Mina brings her cinnamon buns to welcome her to town, right? So there's like little things that neighbors do for each other that kind of play into that. And I also really wanted to play with the trope of having the windows like face each other so that the characters can look at each other through their windows. So like that's always fun because you can communicate without actually talking, right? Just by
Mhm.
looking at each other or kind of making hand signs or and I have a couple scenes like that in the book. So I thought that was really fun.
Are there any tropes you'd love to write more of in the future?
Definitely more found family
Hmm.
because that's my favorite. I want to include that in like everything that I can. Um, I love reading enemies to lovers, and I'll admit I'm not the best at writing it because I don't really like conflict. So I find it difficult. But fake dating is my other favorite trope, and the book I'm currently working on now is actually like a fake dating story.
Mm.
So that one you will be seeing more of.
Yay.
Well,
I love fake dating.
we do.
Yeah.
I have to say with A Tale of Two Florists, I loved how you did the enemies to lovers because you're like, how can two old ladies be enemies? They have beef, but it was so nice to kind of give them that like the ability to still play at that age.
That means a lot to me because a lot of the
Oh,
feedback I get in reviews is like, these old ladies are so petty. They're acting like children. I hate this. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not supposed to be super serious. It's like
yeah.
supposed to be silly and fun and
Mhm.
lighthearted.
Yeah, and I think it just makes it extra funny when it's somebody who's kind of expected to be mature, but they still have that little like hint of mischief in them. I think I thought it was adorable. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Of course.
You recently held a Kickstarter for special edition of And They Were Neighbors. Tell us, tell us a little bit more about the process and anything you learned along the way.
So I kind of got into that process because Rainbow Crate, which is like a queer book box, they published a special edition of Love and Libraries, which is my second book. And I like they were fantastic and they drew me into kind of the entire process. Like they wanted my feedback on the design and what everything would look like. And because of that, I kind of wanted to try making my own special edition because there's so much you can play with, right? Like you can do foil and sprayed edges and, custom artwork on the end pages and chapter headers and all this kinds of stuff that make the book a beautiful product. So it's not just art in the content, but it's like a piece of art itself that you can put on the shelf. So that's why I did the Kickstarter for it. And I had a lot of fun kind of creating that and making it a reality. I did learn though that if you're going to do something like that, give yourself way more time than you expect to need. Because I ran into some trouble with my artist for the end pages that kind of pushed the whole process a couple of months. And then you still have to have like time to order proof copies and make sure that everything looks right
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But it something that I'm really pleased with now is that there are more companies offering the services to do like sprayed pages or artwork or like gold foil on the cover. There are more companies offering that to indie authors. So special editions aren't just something that you can do in traditional publishing anymore, but like you can self-publish them too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Did you
have
have
to.
a favorite? Oh, sorry, go
No,
on.
go on.
No, you go on.
Okay, it was just a little note because I do love like painting the edges and everything. And one thing in Czech, they now started making basically every book like more beautiful, and I'm really bitter that it happened only after I stopped reading in Czech and only went to English. So now I have only like one, and it's just very sad. But yeah.
It makes
I
you
was
want to collect them, right?
I
Like
know. Honestly, I was in the bookstore a few days ago and I was like, I kind of wanna, even though I know I will not read it in this language. Oh, like it's so pretty. Yeah.
I was going to ask if you had a favorite part of the process with building, the special editions.
ooh, favorite part of the process. Honestly, I think just seeing it when it was
Yeah.
all put
Mm.
together. Because I'm really bad at visualizing. Like I'm awful at visualizing. So when I'm working with designers and stuff, I'm like, this is the vibe. Can you like work with this vibe and make something that looks nice? So actually seeing the final product in the end, I'm like, yes, that's the vibe.
Amazing. Ivy and I were looking at it last night and we was like, oh, this is
Mm.
pretty. I love the little etchings on the front cover
Oh
under the dust
yeah.
jacket. It's
Yeah, it's
gorgeous.
gorgeous, hey.
Yeah. So your previous series centered around characters in their senior years, which we loved. Why did you decide to focus on older characters, especially in the queer romance genre?
So there's a couple reasons for that. So I've grown up with older folks like throughout my whole life. Like my grandmother lived with me when I was growing up, and then she passed away when I was in junior high. But I also had like grandparent figures who weren't actually my grandparents, who I saw quite often. And then I was a caretaker for my spouse's grandmother when she lived with us. So I've always had older folks in my life who I learn from and look up to. And I read a lot, and I notice that like the representation of older folks is severely lacking. You tend to find older folks a lot in mysteries, like cozy mysteries will have older characters, or like the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman is a series that I read with my spouse, and that features, they're like sleuths who live in a retirement home, which is fantastic. And you occasionally see older folks in fantasy books, usually as like the mentor figure. But if
Mm.
you search up something like I was curious, so before I started writing the series, I was like looking for later in life romances. And they're all like, if you search up later in life romance, you get characters in their 40s and 50s.
Mm.
And I'm like, if that's later in life, I'm like past my midlife and I'm getting up there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to help fill that gap, especially in queer romance, because there are queer elders out there. You just people think like they don't exist because they're not as visible. But there are tons of queer elders, and we should, learn from them and look forward to becoming older and still living full lives in our 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I do.
remember saying to Ivy, it like it gave me a lot of like hope and just like a nice feeling because aging always comes with like this fear in like modern day society, but it was lovely to kind of read about characters who still get their happy ending at that age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like we shouldn't be scared of growing older. It
Yeah.
should be like exciting and fun.
Yeah. I do remember when we got it. I too have the book. I just didn't read it yet because I have too many books to read. But I do remember we had like a long conversation about it because it was very nice to see that they're like the characters will grow with us. Because now when I read book and there's she's like 23 and I'm like, oh my God, no. I just panic. But it's yeah, it's very nice. It's exciting.
Yeah. I'm curious to know if you've had any reader feedback from older readers or because because romance is so targeted to kind of younger or to at least middle-aged readers, like have you managed to find that audience?
Yeah, so I was actually really surprised when I wrote the book. My target audience that I had in mind was actually like queer women in their 30s who already read queer books and
Mhm.
maybe just want to read some books with older characters,
Yeah.
which I think was a little bit misguided. I should have expected, because most people who read, they read books with people their age or maybe slightly older. A lot of queer senior folks found me somehow. I'm not really sure how. But like I've gotten most of the people who email me actually are uh older folks like 50 plus who read the books and are like, it is so exciting to see myself on the page, like to read about people who are my age in a queer romance. Like it's been really heartwarming to get that feedback
Yeah.
and to be like, yeah, like I'm glad that I could provide that for you.
Yeah,
That's
that's lovely.
beautiful. Yeah. As you mentioned, you also run your editing business. How did this come to be? And what is something that might surprise people about either running the business or behind an editing, being an editor?
So, um, yeah, editing is actually what got me into writing
Mhm.
because when I was just editing, it was funny. I told my spouse, I was like, I'm not creative enough to be an author. Like, I just want to be behind the scenes. I want to be like the invisible person who works on the books. And he was like, you're being ridiculous. You are creative enough. And then the more that I edited books, the more I was like, you know what? I think I could try writing one.
Yeah.
But how I got into it was right after I got out of university, I was looking into like publishing careers because I really wanted to work with books. And I thought originally that I would get my master's in library science. But then my spouse and I started dating, and we had this like obsession with tiny homes. Um, so we were like, oh yeah, we'll get a tiny home and we'll travel around. And so I wanted a career that was more flexible, that allowed me to work remotely. So I was like, you know what? I might try getting into editing because I'd kind of looked into it. I used to edit like all my friends' papers in university. So I thought this could be a fun thing to do. And yeah, we didn't end up getting a tiny home
Oh.
that panned out. But yeah, I did end up going into editing and I love it. I wouldn't want any other job. Um, Something that would surprise people about it. Maybe just that it's not as glamorous as it seems all the time. Like it is a really fun career. And like I said, I wouldn't give it up for anything, but it's not just reading books all day,
Hmm.
especially as a freelancer, right? Like it's a business. So you have to do
Yeah.
marketing and bookkeeping and all this other nitty-gritty stuff that isn't necessarily the most fun.
Yeah. I have to say also library science. I didn't know that was like a thing you can go to
I
school to.
know.
What does that
hmm
entail?
So basically, at least in Canada, if you
Uh-huh.
want to be a librarian or like an assistant librarian, you have to have a degree in library science. So it's like you learn, like it's like a full master's degree.
Mhm.
Um, and you learn all about the back end of running a library, like coding and things like that. Like you have to know that stuff in addition to just managing the front end with the book stocking and stuff like that. So it's quite involved.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was rather like a simple job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad because I was like, when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a librarian, and then I find out it's actually a lot more difficult than you think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
Gotta give
I
those librarians credit.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I feel like I learn about a new master's degree every day, like things you just think you can go and do. You
Yeah.
actually need qualifications for.
Yeah.
Shocking
And
news.
they're always so hyper specific as well.
I know.
Yeah. Like who knew you needed to know coding to be a librarian?
Yeah.
No. No. Oh my gosh.
Crazy. Is there a reason you chose to publish books independently rather than go down traditional routes?
Yeah, the short answer is that I'm a control freak. I think partially because I run my own business as an editor and I have full control over everything, like my
Mhm.
schedule. Like I don't have to consult anyone for vacations, all of that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. Um, when I decided to publish, I was like, I don't want to give creative control to someone else, especially because I have connections in the publishing world. Like I know really good editors, I know cover designers, I know how to do layout for a book, like all of those kinds of things. I was like, I don't feel like I need the support of a traditional publisher. So, yeah, I wanted full creative control, and so I've been doing it all myself.
Amazing. Would you ever consider doing it, going the traditional route, or do you think that you're just set on self-publishing?
If you had asked me like a year ago, I would have said, no, I never want to go traditional. But lately, I've been getting tired.
Mm,
Yeah.
it's also a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting really tired, especially like I didn't anticipate once you publish multiple books, it's not just like you're publishing and marketing a new one, you also have to continue managing your backlist,
Mhm.
right? Which is so the work just kind of keeps piling up.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so lately I have been considering querying agents
Mhm.
just because I mean, like I would still self-publish at the same time. I would be like
Mhm.
a hybrid. I would want to do both, but it would help, I think, manage some of that stress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let someone else take over.
Yeah.
Have you faced any challenges either with this book or the ones you published previously?
Yeah. So drafting is really hard for me. That's like the hardest part. I'm one of those weird people who really likes to revise and edit. Um, so yeah, like I kind of mentioned with And They Were Neighbors, I had to scrap the entire first draft and like restart the story. And that was a big challenge. And I had to do the same thing with Of Love and Libraries, my second book, because I had written it one way and then I had my two best friends read my books first because like I trust them to tell me if I'm going to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
So they read it and they were like, this isn't working and we don't like it. And I was like, that was like heartbreaking. Like that was my first real kind of stumbling block as an author was getting over that feedback. But I really liked the story, like the core of it. So I was like, I can fix this. So I basically had to go back to the beginning and rewrite it to fix the stuff that wasn't working. Um, yeah, so it's not, And They Were Neighbors was not the first time that I have had to basically scrap most of my work and go back and start from scratch. And I'm also hitting that point again with my current draft where I have written most of it. I'm at, I think, 65,000 words. I'm at the end of the book, like I'm nearing the end, but I'm stuck. Like something isn't
Mm.
feeling right, and I can't put my finger on what it is. So I'm just trying to like I don't know, tweak things or think about if I changed it this way, would it work better? Um, yeah, I don't know why drafting is so hard for me, but it's not the easiest.
Honestly, but
Innocent.
big applause to you that you actually like do it again because I don't I wouldn't I would just give up on everything in my life at that moment. So like wow.
I mean, that's a temptation to be sure.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for authors who may be going through that? Like, how do you kind of pick yourself up?
I think taking a step away is really
Hmm.
important. Like just don't because if you try to push through it too hard, you'll get really frustrated.
Yeah.
So taking a step back taking time away from the manuscript, doing other things that fill your creative well, like reading other books or watching a show or going for a walk, I think is super important, right? Like just doing like active rest that lets your brain get in that creative space and do kind of its own, get the gears turning by itself.
Mhm.
Doing activities like that really helps. And also I think you have to kind of do some work with your mindset and realize that it's not the end of the world if something's not working, even though it feels like the end of the world. And it's not a reflection on like how good of a writer you are or how good of a person you are. It's just this is what is happening right now, and you can get through it. You just have to approach yourself with grace and gentleness.
Yeah, we all need to hear that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful reminder. Yeah.
Can we get a hint about what you might be planning next?
Yeah, so And They Were Neighbors comes out July 22nd, so that's kind of the next thing on the docket. And then I have a Kickstarter planned for a box set for the Juniper Creek Golden Years series.
Mm.
So that will hopefully be happening soon. I'm just getting into the design process for like the actual box, so that's exciting. I'm yeah excited to see what that's going to look like in the end. And then I'm currently writing a book that is not Juniper Creek related. It is a safari story, a sapphic
Ooh.
safari story. It's fake dating is like the main trope. That's the one that I'm stuck on right now.
Mm.
So I'm anticipating to get through it hopefully soon.
Yeah.
My plan is to publish it next year, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh,
Sprinkle in
exciting.
some elephants, it'll be fine.
There are definitely elephants in there.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, we always like to ask what people are enjoying at the moment. And since it's Pride Month, do you have any queer TV show, books, anything that you would like to gush out about a little bit?
Definitely. It was hard to kind of narrow this down because
Mm.
I have a lot. Um, so I'm going to recommend an author friend of mine. I'm a little bit biased because I did edit her books, but I think they are phenomenal. She's one of my favorite sapphic authors of all time. Her name is Jacqueline Lyon. Her last name is spelled Lyon. She's got a couple of short story collections out, and they're mostly like fantasy and sci-fi. They're really romantic and magical, and her writing is beautiful. And she's dabbling in like some contemporary romance now as well. So, highly recommend all of her work.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
We'll have to check that out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
Ta-da!
we have it.
Yeah.
What is your favorite cozy business
Oh my gosh.
session?
I mean, ideally, bookshop slash plant shop slash coffee shop.
Yeah, a bit of everything.
A bit of everything. Slash now I guess with pottery or like the paint and painting and whining type of evenings,
Oh
you know.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Just lots of hobbies really.
Ah.
Crocheting, knitting. Oh my gosh, wait, I'm on something now.
Hmm.
Great businessman. Business plan, I want to say.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
How
I
about
have to admit I was excited because Ailey's working in the bookshop now in
Oh,
fireworks, which I'm writing at the minute. So that
beautiful.
I love I never get tired of writing, setting a book in a bookshop.
It's
Setting a yeah, that's right. Setting a
yeah,
book in a
I
bookshop.
think so. Yeah.
Um, but I really enjoyed the pottery when I was writing Kiln,
Mm.
and I need more
Oh
tattooing.
yes. I just love plants.
I know, and I love florists.
There you
I love all of them. I can't
Yeah.
decide.
I'm not gonna choose
I'd
our
love to
favorite
do a
cat.
candle shop as well.
Oh yes, it's a good one. You know
Anything
what?
that
It's awful that my brain is now getting into way. Like, I'm like, well, realistically, here I can see a candle shop surviving.
oh. Explain. What do you mean?
I don't think people buy enough candles.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't have like Yankee candle shops?
Well, yeah, but because it's a gigantic like brand. We have
Oh,
two in Prague, I think.
We have a lot of shops like that are like soaps and candles, and they're big in like on markets and
Yeah, I can't think of only like a big chains.
mm, interesting.
Yeah,
I guess people are not going to Prague for the candles.
sadly not.
Yeah.
I would love to make candles all day. I think I
No.
would just I'm too messy for that. I think I would just end up covered in bags and have very little in the actual candle.
Yeah, me too.
What?
And I'd probably get sick of the smells after a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's true. But what about like a jewelry maker?
Ooh. Yeah. Really anything.
Really
Anything
anything.
cozy and cute.
Yeah.
I like it's the Chloe Lia's book where she designed stationery.
Oh yeah, that was a good
I
one.
liked that.
That
I
was
love
good.
stuff like that.
I
Like
know.
interesting, quirky stuff.
Yeah, and also because at this point in romance books, especially, let's be honest, there are just several jobs being repeated a lot. So it's
Bakery.
marketing a lot, graphic designing.
Yeah. I would like to see more working class people in romance
Yeah, yeah.
books.
And something interesting, something that doesn't hit you right away.
Mm.
Anywho,
Anywho,
anything else you'd like to add, share with the group?
our Pride bundle is still going on Itch.
Mm.
It has 14 books for $17 and it's a mix of genres. We have science fiction, fantasy, contemporary romance, and we have a game from Helios, a read and roll
Mm.
fantasy role-playing game. So I know something for everyone there. So go to Itch for that.
Scratch that
Um,
itch.
go scratch that itch. Yeah.
Yeah,
It ends at the end of June, so
still
go
time.
do it.
Yes.
There's still time. Yeah. I
Beautiful.
think that's it.
Beautiful. Well then, until next time,
Support women's rights.
but most importantly, support women's wrongs.
Yes. I have nothing. I have no one less. We talked about only lovely women today.
Yeah. We shall see you later, alligator.
In a while, crocodile.
Thank you for listening. You can expect an episode every other Wednesday.
And be sure to expect lots of guests, including authors and queer creators.
While waiting for the episodes, feel free to check out our website, swordsandsuffix.com.
Be sure to submit to our forms if you're a queer creator to be featured on our blog or our monthly release lists.
You can also take part in Swords and Suffix and Scribbles, which is a monthly writing event to help you reach your goals.
And if you're just looking for a community that will be supportive and joyful, you can join our Discord server where most of our writing events take place, but also we just have lots of conversations and lots of fun.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and TikTok, where you can find us as all kinds of versions of Swords and Suffix.